That's a whole nother kettle of fish. Does anybody have any SEO questions or
Any
local
questions?
SEO questions? Bring them.
Is that what you asked?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I have a whole list.
Okay. Well, somebody cut her off in between her questions so you can ask questions. Just saying. Go, Michelle.
Okay, so on the website, when you say the published on date, does that make a difference to SEO? Like, should I be changing the date each time I change content or not?
Good question. So, couple things. You don't want to constantly change content. If you're constantly changing content, you should be using a Google Doc and updating that and then updating the site. Yeah? Because Google will keep a record in their sitemap of when you make changes. So you don't have to change the date published dates if you're updating the content. I mean, it depends on what you want your readers to know, right? Like, do you have the date there? Are they seeing the date?
Okay.
For instance, for certain industries like the SEO industry, doing something like Google Analytics 4, if I write a blog post, if it's 6 months old, it's outdated because of new things, right? If you're a lawyer, law doesn't change as quickly. So, does that help?
It does. It does. So the published on date is really for the user, not
If
for
they can see it on the published side, sometimes they don't see it, right, Phelan?
Yeah, it's definitely one that if like Pip said, if you're doing something that changes all the time, having it be a little marker of saying like, hey, this is actually up to date, or it's like, oh, we originally published this in 2020, and then some people put like square brackets revised for 2022, and so that way, like a person, so I think of it more as kind of like a meta description. It indirectly helps you because people know, oh, this is fresh, this is up to date. I should go with this one because obviously if they've updated it, they care and they're putting an effort.
Okay. And why shouldn't you
muted
change
again.
content often and keep it in a Google Doc?
They'll have a harder time with assessing how it fits into everything, because if you're changing it and updating it all the time, they're having a hard time to guess like, oh, this one, like they're up to date because they're changing it too frequently.
Yeah.
Okay.
What are you changing, if I can ask?
Well, like the where this really came up is on jobs. So jobs at West Coast College.
Okay.
So each term we hire clinic instructors and teachers. And,
Okay, jobs are different.
oh,
Jobs are, you're gonna want to put schema on your site on the job part of the site, but
Yes.
yeah, because jobs are different, right? They have their own index in Google.
Yeah, because if you type into jobs, like say I went for massage therapist, I typed in massage therapist jobs, and you notice that there's a little section there where there's all like the job listings. That's generated on people's website using schema. That's how you get in there, is that you actually tell Google, hey, I have a job listing, here are the specifications of the job, here's what I require, here's the experience, all that stuff.
okay.
This.
Yeah.
Right? These. So when I type in
Totally different. Okay.
totally
Yeah,
different.
and there's a super easy tool that we have for generating this stuff. It's just
You will learn it in
We will learn it.
You
Yeah,
will learn it. It is one of the last classes because it is advanced material. Super fun. I don't do it myself.
and there's a super easy tool that we have that will like generate all the code, so you don't even have to think about it. You just fill in like, what's the title, what's the years of experience, like you just fill in that and it just generates a bunch of code, and then you just copy it and put it on your website, and it's
Yeah.
So it will be
So excited to learn schema. Oh my god.
I know, right? I remember when I started doing SEO, and I thought that was when I made it. Yes,
you could just
got here. Just like UTM parameters, that was always a goal of mine too. I don't do these things. Other people do them for me now.
Okay. So can I ask the next question?
Yes.
Okay, so West Coast College used to be part of, the owner of West Coast College used to own like 7 different colleges, and then he sold off 5 of them and he just kept New Westminster and Victoria under West Coast College of Massage. But the other colleges that he owned were in Toronto and Ontario, and they were under a different brand called CCMH. So when I joined, and that was one of the first tasks I had to do, I had to remove everywhere on the website that said CCMH, and I did. But the meta descriptions still contain Canadian College of Massage Therapy.
Okay.
And I didn't change those because to me, that's not CCMH like the brand. It's still Canadian, which you can't own, college, you can't own massage therapy. And everybody looking for or using those keywords would then find us. So to me, it made sense to keep those in the meta descriptions. But now I've been asked if that is correct, and I stumbled. I'm not sure.
Eventually, so you took the on-page SEO class, yeah?
Yeah.
And you took the Google Search Console class, right? And in a few weeks, we're gonna show you how to pick the best keywords using Google Search for each page of your site.
Okay.
So now when you rewrite the meta descriptions, titles, URLs, right, you're gonna want to use a specific keyword for a page,
Yeah.
targeted. So would it matter? No, will the other schools show up ahead of you if you're using, first of all, acronyms suck and you shouldn't use them because nobody else understands it, right? And so you got to spell it out. So I don't think it makes a difference, but always with SEO, it kind of depends. Will you show up ahead of those other people when that's their brand name? It's in their URL, probably not.
For sure. But I'm not doing anything like against their brand by keeping Canadian College of Massage in our meta description, even though that is what their ECMH like what their brand is. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Well, are you targeting all of Canada?
No, just BC.
So why I would maybe change it to BC, Canada, right? And that helps you with that localized searching too, right?
It does.
So that I would go in there to my boss and be like, although it doesn't necessarily make a difference, why don't we target it for our users?
Okay.
Yeah.
And change it, and then when we learn how to do proper.
Yeah.
We'll find it.
Good
okay,
questions.
I have a question.
Okay, hop in there.
Okay, so when we talk, so this is sort of shifting. Well, I think we were talking about blogs anyways, but when we think about, I know that when we think about keywords on web pages, what we want to do is not to have too many different keywords in the same page, right? And on blog keywords, it's my understanding that sort of really focused on one sort of long tail keyword is a good idea. So I had a client who had some information about a new, what was it again? I even forgot, but she was writing about her industry and how she can advocate for her patients. She's a naturopathic doctor, how she can advocate for patients that are with medical doctors, which is something that not very many people know or do. So basically she coaches you on what kind of tests to ask for and what, look for that they can't order through the MSP themselves. It's pretty useful, I think, but so it's a really nice way to kind of rank, because that's a really weird blog post. I've never seen it. There's, but my question is that she also had this section, sort of like this paragraph underneath that was welcoming her 2 new practitioners that were completely different content. So I broke those down into 2 separate blog posts because I didn't see what the point was in providing competition with other keywords on the same page. Is that My
I would have done
strategy
that. Yeah.
Okay, good.
I
Thank
would too. I mean, I might mention like at the end of my blog post, oh, did you want to learn about our new staff? Blah.
Yeah.
You know, take them over there, right? Because that's a huge opportunity to, people always go to the about page first, right? So they go homepage, about page usually, and then they might dig into learning about who they're going to call.
Right. And then the introduction to the new people is where we fleshed it out a lot longer than what was on the bio pages, for example. But the bio pages is where you can book.
Yeah.
We moved people from there to the book pages, the book now
Okay.
page.
That sounds good.
Okay, good, because she's fighting me on that. She doesn't think that that offers any client. How did she put it? It was a really interesting way of putting it. Value for her clients, for her readers or whatever. And
Well,
I'm
how
like,
does it give value for the readers when it's jumping to different content?
That's what I think too. It's like, yeah, that's what I think too. And also, I think there's a lot of value in understanding the personalities and the specifics of a practitioner's practice, because it can help to remove resistance in booking, if you know more about them.
Yeah, I would agree. Then you get to know them first. It's all, we often think that the way we search is the way everybody searches, but it's so not true. Like I never click on the ads. I'm like, yeah, are you sure? But yes, that's always interesting, good dialogue with clients, right? Yeah. Anybody else?
I have a question about setting up Google Tag Assistant.
Ooh, yes. Phelan, take it away.
Can
The
I-
tag assist.
Yeah. Ask your question first, though.
well, it's not even a question. I just want you to help me click the right buttons because I'm not sure what to do.
So what I want you to do, have you watched the Tag Manager class?
No.
Okay, you're gonna watch that class, and you're actually gonna set up a meeting with Phelan
Okay.
to do it together. We're gonna record it, but Tag Manager is one of those classes where we will get on a call with you individually because that's the hard part, right?
Okay. Amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Phelan, you want to send the booking
Yep.
your booking calendar? Yeah.
Yes.
May I ask another question?
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys are fun today.
So just to go back to, so in the past, the school, and then the URL was and is collegeofmassage.com, which is how it incorporated all the different schools. Is Google smart enough to recognize college, or on our new website, should we be changing our URL and redirecting, obviously, and make it West Coast College of Massage, like our brand? Like, if we're going to do that, this is the time, and should we?
Well, you want to change your URL structure. We already know that, right? Get rid of those dates in there. It's a good question because I will say, as a user, I was confused because I'm seeing West Coast College of Massage and I'm clicking on it and it says College of Massage and I'm like, why am I in the right place? But that's just one user experience. So, Phelan, West Coast College.
Yeah.
So it's College of Massage, yeah?
It's College of Massage, which was intentional when there were so many different schools.
Yeah, West Coast.
Now we're one brand, West Coast College of Massage, but our URL does not.
Yeah. I mean, you fail.
I would change it to the new West Coast College of Massage and make it. I would change it over. Keep the old domain because that's a useful domain, and then I would just make it the
Redirect.
Yeah, I would do the A record, so meaning that no matter what other people type, because you can type in all kinds of weird. So an example is if you go to Shopify and you do weird little typos, you'll always wind up at Shopify because they bought every variation of it so that people wouldn't get scammed. And so what happens is you'll have your A record. We'll go over this more when you get closer to the launch, and your web developer will know how to do this.
No, he actually asked me to ask you.
Okay,
Uh-oh.
yeah, I would take advantage of this because it is a rebrand. As you guys narrow down to this, that it makes more sense to have it consistent, that what you see on Google My Business, what you see on the website is all going to be consistent and the same, and even the URL, because people get tripped up when you see a URL and it changes to some random
Yeah.
one that
There's
I-
something else on your site right now, one of your menu buttons that takes me right off the site. Is that correct?
Probably. And
Yeah,
there's a lot wrong with our current website.
It was, you know what? I've done it myself on my, hold on. Call it, okay, there we go. Yeah, West Coast. Yeah. Y'all need to get more reviews up. Just so, you know, just saying.
Definitely.
How do you guys go after reviews?
We haven't yet.
You need to, because you got your rating isn't, it's 4.6.
Which is terrible.
Well, no.
No.
2.5 is terrible. One abysmal, and you should just run away.
We did a competitor research one, and one of the competitors for one of our clients had 1.7, and that's because they had a 1 and a 2. And the actual written review was brutal. It was, yeah. So trust me, you're definitely in the good. Anything over 4.2, I would say is good.
Yeah.
It's
But
just you
if
guys
you
can
get,
just do.
yeah, if you get more, it'll jump up, and that will really help you show up higher.
Definitely. What I'm trying to do is still get Google My Business to allow us to separate into education and clinic, because all of those reviews are for the clinic, but they're linked to the education.
Yeah, I saw that. It's hard.
So I'm not actually doing anything just yet until I can get them to respond.
That's a hard one, right? Because that's very hard. I wonder, Phelan, we use a plugin for our reviews. Can you separate them out according to topic? Ooh.
Great question.
And-
Yeah, I think that there might be a way.
Why don't we get Chris to look into it?
Yeah. I'll talk to Chris about that, and we'll look at it as an option if there's a way we can do a filter. Because I know that there's a way that people do. Google does this where they word cloud all your reviews, and so they'll find like knowledgeable, fast service, SEO, courses, like those. They pick out those little words. So there might be a way we could tap into that, but I don't quote me on it because
For sure.
yeah, the Google My Business API, so the way it connects with other applications,
Yeah.
is one of the stingiest and most it's so narrow and so confined and restricted compared to every other one that Google has. So it's definitely hard to do stuff with their API, like apps and stuff, and pulling out reviews and stuff.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you have a page that used to be ranking well but is going down in rank, do you have like a list of troubleshooting that you would go through to check that page?
Interesting. Good question. So, algorithm update just happened.
Yeah.
If you've gone down, it means you have a huge opportunity to build back up. You're going to do all your on-page stuff. First and foremost, I would check Search Console for the keywords you're ranking for and make sure those are on the page. Phelan, you got any suggestions? That's a really good question because
I think that this
It did
class coming up
happen.
is
It
good.
changed right where the update started, I think.
Yeah, so what I would say is this class that's coming up, the audits, are going to be a golden opportunity for you to find out where there's going to be some issues, and then figuring out, because we're going to cover stuff like that, and even auditing your own website, definitely something I would recommend, especially if you just got dinged with the last round. It's still early to know exactly like, oh, people that did blah, blah, blah. The one thing that everyone did find in the last update is anyone who used a lot of AI writing software. You okay there, Pip?
totally healthy.
Yeah, that was a great look.
Yeah, right?
Glad we got that recorded.
Glad I sneezed. I'm allergic to dogs, just so you know we have 13.
Do you like to suffer?
Yeah, I do actually. It's weird.
Well, in fairness, 10 of them are 6 weeks old. So, you know, they're it's not like we have 13 full-grown dogs. We wouldn't be allowed.
We're only allowed 6 companion animals, and I'll have to kick all the cats out. So there you have it. Not kicking them off.
But yeah, well, Yeah, we'll go through the audit and that will probably illuminate whatever the issue is. It'll probably come up with it, even like the most basic one with Screaming Frog that we'll cover is gonna be one that you'll see something that goes, oh, that's not good, or thin
Yeah.
content, any number of issues.
You want to focus on EAT, right? So the algorithm update, which is EAT, which is expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. So that's what you want to focus your page on. And also think about search intent. Like, what is the page intended for? Like, who is it intended for? And is it like an informational search or a transactional search? Or those will help. So this sounds like fun work. That reminds me though, don't forget everybody, on Thursday, have downloaded Screaming Frog app. You're actually going to follow along and do an audit yourself. We're going to do the audit slowly. The first one we're going to do is the technical and on-page audit. Then class after that, we're going to do the content audit. And yeah, so it should be really interesting. And it's going to be live, so there will be a couple hiccups, I'm totally sure.
No hiccups.
Setting a high bar there.
Oh yeah.
What part do tags and categories play in SEO, if any?
Yes.
It's basically, it's complicated is the general answer.
Categories do seem to, we'll see more over time. I'm starting to use a category of guide, like SEO guide, things like that, to see what it does. But I would try to utilize the categories because I do think they have a factor in things.
They do. The issue that you will run into is that you have very limited control on how they look and what content goes on them, and also how Google ranks them, because they are typically low content, like thin content on the pages, because it's usually links to other parts of your site. So generally what you want to do, we'll go into it more when we get to it, but you want to make it canonicalized, meaning that, yeah, it's a really fancy word that basically says, okay, all these other URLs are all actually variations of this one URL. Whenever you see all these other ones, actually this one, and the example I use is like shoes on an e-commerce website, right? When you pick the red shoe or the blue shoe, you haven't left the page, but you'll notice the URL changes. And so that it gets canonicalized to, this is the leather shoe or the men's leather shoe. And then it has variations of the colors. But to Google, it's only rank that one shoe page. All these other ones are just kind of copies of that one.
So,
Yeah.
so the category is almost like this invisible page, but it's actually just linking to all of these other pages.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, it's automatically generated, especially with WordPress. It'll automatically get generated. Usually you don't want them to rank because you have so little control. We do have a way that in the audits of how to check for them, and then we can fix it that way once we've identified them. And there's a couple of like technical checks that we'll go over.
Cool, thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
And will we be covering no follow links in the audit section or somewhere else?
Ooh, that's a good question. That's in our advanced on-page
Okay.
SEO class. So
Yeah,
that'll
be with the canonicals and the no follow types of links.
We wanted to throw it all in the first on-page SEO class, but we thought maybe, I will tell you, because I've had to go through slides and cut things out. So y'all think I'm fire hosing you with information, but I cut stuff out.
Yeah, this is the restrained one, is what you're seeing. It's this.
That'll be good.
There's been a couple times where we both looked at the other one's slide deck and gone, I don't think we should be covering that in the intro to this.
Almost like we want the editor's cut somewhere.
300-page slide deck, like just takes hours to get through.
Be super fun. So yeah, does anybody else have any questions?
Can I ask one more?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Is there a way of, with images, of saving the title and the meta description into the photograph so that when you import it, that information is already there rather than having to, copy and paste or retype? I was just wondering.
Good question. So, I mean, you can technically put that information in the image. Will it help you at all? No, because how will you find that information? It's not evidence. Like you can't get to it when you put it on the site. You won't really see it. You could probably see it in the name, and you could name the image. But then, if you name the image your title and your meta description and even your URL, it'll be too long. And what happens when you change it, or what happens when you use one image for 2 pages, right?
Okay.
So, because there is a chance we all, you're like, oh, that image is good, I could use that one for that page. I honestly, doing your titles, meta descriptions, URLs, things like that, like we use a Google Sheet, because what will happen is when you have a website and it gets pretty robust, you'll duplicate a keyword. I've done it. I did it with Data Studio. I had a page and a post, and same keyword. Guess what? My page showed up, my post didn't, because pages are more valuable than posts.
Is there any way to go on a website through the media files and figure out which files are not actually used anywhere so that you can delete them?
Ask a web developer. Yes, but no, there should be. I don't know.
Because that would be really handy. I get clients and they upload 5 million of the same exact photo, just different variations at different points. And I know for a fact, even people that have worked for me, they'll upload it 3 times because they didn't get the size right, or something's wrong, or I don't know what.
I've done that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's like I can't tell which of them is actually the one that's attached. And I just want
that's
to know
a
the wrong
great
one.
question. Phelan?
Yeah.
Can we figure that out?
I'm Googling it right now.
Because we should do that with our site, yeah?
This is my favorite half hour of the week.
That's good. You get 2 of them this week, I think.
Yes.
too.
Apparently, I'm gonna pop this in the chat, but yes, apparently the WP Optimize, the premium version, has a tab that's called Unused Media. So
yeah, interesting.
Yeah, so I don't know what their pricing structure for that plugin is, like if it's a per site basis or something like that, or you can get a general agency one. But yeah, that's definitely one where it's. I would look into that one. I do like WP Optimize as well. It's a decent plugin for speeding up your site.
And we're out of time. So if you had questions and you didn't get them answered today, join us tomorrow at the same bat time, same bat place, and we'll be here and we'll have fun, and then we're gonna have a great week. It's gonna be an amazing week to do an audit. Yeah. And Screaming Frog. So download Screaming Frog, bring your website or a website you want to test. Yeah, because we're gonna go through it together. You're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. Then you're gonna do it maybe on your own again. It's gonna be amazing. Okay. See you next week or tomorrow.